So welcome to the gentle class today. Our theme is the heart. The element of the heart is air, which makes a lot of sense given that the lungs and the heart are in this area of the body and they work together to send oxygenated blood through our whole system. Right? When we're breathing, which is always a good thing, we don't have to breathe in any particular way. There's no right or wrong way to breathe. If you've made it this far, you're breathing right. But what we often do in yoga is just pay attention to the breath as a way of bringing the mind into focus. Right? So we'll do a lot of that today. And then we're going to spend a lot of our time today working on stretching the area around the shoulders, upper back, chest, rib cage, into the sides of the waist, and a little bit into the hips. And the idea is that we're gently expanding the area that receives the breath so that the breath naturally comes a little more deep, a little more relaxed, so that we're not forcing it to try to get a deep breath. So we'll start out today with a supported back bend. You're going to need a blanket that you can fold, or it could be a towel as well, or a couple of blocks or a bolster. So if you're watching on the replay, you can just hit pause and grab those things, and then I will meet you on the mat. So if you're using a blanket, what you'll do is you'll take your blanket. This is just a regular old Mexican blanket, so standard size, and it's just folded twice, right? So in half once, and then in half again, like so. And then I'm going to take it so I've got the long end in my hands, and you could either just go ahead and roll up your blanket just roll it up like a roll up, or you can take it, which is the way I prefer, is to make an accordion out of it, and then it's a bit flatter. So I'm just going to take it in 1, 2, 3 folds, and then it's about as wide as my hand, a little wider if I spread my hand a little bit, and it's nice and flat. Right? So I can use that to support my spine. And you can do that by placing it on your mat. If it's got fringes, I would put the fringes away from you so they're not sort of underneath your hips. And then you can come down, just pull it right up to the lower back, and then support yourself as you lie back. And then if there's extra here, it's nice to tuck it under and create a little bit of a pillow for yourself. So that is one option. You can do something similar with a bolster. If you have a bolster, you're just going to lay it down behind you, bum on the ground, back over the bolster. You might want a pillow under your head or something under your hips if you do that. Third option, if you've got blocks, one block flat, so it's going wide, width, another block about 6 or 8 inches behind that, a little taller, so on its edge. So this block here is going to support my shoulder blades. The block at the top is going to support my head. So I'm lying back, and you may need to adjust where that head support block is. The other option, you can have a nice thick folded blanket or a couple of pillows behind you to support your head. You want to make sure you're not hyperextending your neck. So your chin is not higher than your forehead, right? So if you're here, you may even find having that block behind you a little taller will bring the chin down. So I hope you've been able to find a comfortable position for this. And if not, just lie on the ground, forget all of the support, and just take your arms wide. And that will also give you a nice feeling of opening across the chest and shoulders. Your legs can be bent or straight, whatever is comfortable for you. Arms a little out to the sides. If it's comfortable, palms face the ceiling. And we're simply going to tune into the breath here for a few breaths. We're not trying to change the breath at all. Letting this create a bit of a transition from whatever you were doing in your day before you came to the class. Moving into this more introspective place of watching and observing the breath. And we'll just take about a minute or two here to simply let the breath be, Soften tension and holding where you notice it in your body. Your jaw releasing. Simply observing the breath as it is without changing it, without judging it, being with your breath. So take a few more breaths here, bringing your attention back to your breath if it's wandered away. And then when you're ready, if you are using some support under you, the safest, easiest way to come off that support, whether it's blocks or a blanket or bolster, is to roll to one side. You can just let the body slowly roll over. Make sure your head is supported. Bring your opposite hand to the ground. Use that hand to help to bring you upright enough to move your support. So you can just take your blocks and or your blanket or your bolster, move it aside, and then come to lie back down. So take a moment to notice maybe a little more feeling of openness in the chest as you lie down, or whatever it is that you notice. I notice my breath feels just a little easier with a bit more space. Your experience may be different, so tune into what's true for you. So you're coming to this position with your feet on the floor, knees bent, arms down alongside the length of your body. And we'll start by lifting the arms straight up towards the ceiling, and you'll keep moving the arms back behind you until your shoulders say, that's enough. Right? It could be all the way to the floor, you could stop somewhere along the way, or you may find bending the elbows is helpful for you. And then you'll bring the arms back down to your sides. Now just take your time, don't worry about your breath here. Make sure you're breathing. You'll lift the arms slowly up. And going slowly really helps to be able to tune in to when your body says that's enough. So your arms might come to the ground, they very well might not. You might need to bend your elbows. Find that action, that movement that works for you. And then once you find a good movement, if it works for you to coordinate with your breath, you can do that. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Do a few more like that, tuning into your own breath rhythm. You're stretching up along the rib cage and the sides as you lift the arms. You feel the lower back relax and settle as you lower the arms. Next time your arms are coming down, bring your right knee up into your chest and bring your hands around your knee. Give it a little squeeze and stay there for a few breaths. Try to relax your shoulders. And then we're going to take the left arm and just place it somewhere on the body or on the floor. Take the right arm and leg and extend them out. Now really tune into your right shoulder. So if it feels uncomfortable overhead, take it to the side, bend it so that your elbow and the back of your hand can be on the ground. So whatever position is going to work for you, find that position and take a few breaths here, reaching out through the leg, out through the arm, either out to the side or overhead. Take a few breaths, imagining that right side growing longer with each breath. Right, and then we'll bring the knee in, bring the right hand to the knee, bring the left hand to the knee, give a little squeeze in, either over the shin or behind the knee, doesn't matter. And then same leg, but opposite arm. So we'll let the right hand come to the floor of the body, left arm and leg stretch out. And now we've got this diagonal stretch going on. Breathing and extending along that diagonal line. Right, and then we'll lower the arm and bend the knee. And then both arms lifting up, breathing in. And then exhaling, left knee coming in. Hold there for a few breaths, either over or behind the knee. And then the right hand will rest on the body or the floor as the left arm and leg extend away from each other. Remember to really honor your left shoulder, so bring it down or bend it out to the side if that's better for you. And then reach out with your heel, out with your fingertips. Grow long and breathe. Next, exhale. Knee comes in, both hands come around the knee or behind the knee. And then we'll release the left hand to the body or the ground, right arm, left leg extending. And again, reaching and growing here for a few breaths. Feel that diagonal stretch through the body. And then lowering the arm, bending the knee. Let's let the hands rest on the body somewhere where you can feel the breath, somewhere sort of in that lower rib cage, abdominal area down into the hips, somewhere in that area where you feel breath. And without trying to make the breath any deeper or any different, just notice the movement that's present. If you don't feel breath where your hands are, move your hands to where you do feel movement. And then we're going to take the hands and bring them to the floor, a little bit away from the body with the arms, heels tucked in underneath your knees, and press into your feet. And as you do, you'll rock the pelvis back a little bit. It just happens naturally that the tailbone lifts, the lower back flattens a little bit. And then we're going to slowly lift up into a nice, easy bridge pose. Only lifting as high as feels good for you. And then slowly release and lower down. Try that a few times. So lifting, nice and easy, peeling the spine up, and then rolling back down. Keep breathing. Don't worry about how you're breathing, but make sure that you are. And then if it feels right for you, you can stay in that bridge pose for a few breaths. You're going to feel that your legs start to work a little bit. So if they get tired, you're welcome to come down anytime. If you have a block or a bolster handy and you want to use it to support your hips, you can do that. And that will take all of the work out of your legs. So if you want to work your legs more, skip the block or bolster. And then depending on how your shoulders are feeling, it may be possible and feel good for you to open the front of the chest a little bit more by rolling one shoulder and then the other underneath you. So it's an external rotation of the shoulders. You're bringing the weight more onto the outer upper arms and still pressing down into the arms. You can do this with straight arms or bent arms. Whatever feels best for you, you can try each way. And as always, if a pose isn't feeling good to you, listen to your body. Come out of it at any point. If you're still in the pose, especially if you're not using a block to support your legs, you're probably going to feel it by now. We'll walk the shoulders out. If you've got something under your hips, you can remove it and we'll lower slowly down. When you get there, knees to chest, one hand to each knee. And you'll draw the knees forward and back. And if you really want to work with your breath here, next time you bring your knees into your chest, see if you can start the movement by breathing into your belly and pushing the legs away, then guiding the rest of the way with your hands. As you exhale, start to exhale, draw your belly toward your spine and feel your legs start to move in towards you. You'll keep guiding them with your hands, and then let the breath start the movement as the knees move away. So the breath is always starting the movement, following through with your hands on your knees, drawing the legs towards you or further away. When you're ready, you can release your feet to the floor. And again, we'll roll over onto one side. This time we're going to come up and stay up. You can use your opposite hand to support you, coming upright. And we'll come to all fours. So as always, if you need padding under your knees, use a blanket or double up your mat. And same with your wrists, you can roll up the end of your mat or come onto fists if you need to release any tension or pressure on the wrist. So from here, bend your elbows, pull back with your hands towards your knees without actually moving them, and draw the chest forward between the hands. Take a breath in here and then push into the mat with your hands. Round your back and draw the chin in toward your chest. So bend the elbows, chest forward, inhaling, and then press into the ground. Spine lifting, chin coming in. A few more like that. Follow your own breath rhythm. If you need to take extra breaths to make the pace feel right for you, take extra breath. Then find your way to a neutral spine, and we'll do a little bit of a side bend. So we're looking to make the spine kind of shaped like a C, but we'll start by kind of snaking the hips and the head side to side in whatever way feels good. So just imagine a slithery snake going side to side, just let your body go. The head can move, the hips can move. You'll find a bit of a wave through the body. Right. And then coming back to the center, we're going to press the hips in one direction and then look over the same shoulder to see that hip maybe behind you. So you're making a C with your spine. And then go the other way. Hips go one way, looking over that same shoulder towards your hips. Taking a few breaths here, breathing into that long sigh. Great. And then let's come back to the center. If it's comfortable for you to come to child's pose, you can do that. If it's more comfortable to take the knees apart for frog pose or to stay more upright in puppy pose, you're going to find the position that feels best for you. So either on your elbows or forehead on your hands or forehead on the ground. I invite you to tune into your breath again and see if you can feel any kind of movement in the back of your body. It could be the back of the hips or the lower back, could be the rib cage. Certainly the lungs move into the back of the body through the back of the ribs, so you may feel some movement there. So you're really just tuning into what do you notice, what do you feel as you breathe in this position. And then as you're ready, you can roll up from child's pose to sit. And you may want to have a cushion or a blanket or a block to sit on. So have something, you could even actually sit on a chair if you find that that is better for you. So you'll just swing your legs around to come to find a comfortable position. If sitting cross-legged works for you, you can sit cross-legged. If not, maybe having the legs straight out in front of you or even the feet on the floor. That's a nice option as well. So find the position that is going to work for you, and you can always shift position anytime you need. So we'll start with the hands on the knees, and that same kind of movement that we were doing on all fours, arching or extending and then flexing or rounding the spine, we'll do that here seated. So you can kind of pull back against your knees, draw the chest forward, shoulders move down and back. And then exhale, round your back, let your shoulders come forward, head down. We'll do a couple more like that. Okay, and then after your next exhalation, let's find our way to a neutral spine. So sitting up tall. Again, you could be on a chair. If you're not comfortable on the ground, it's no problem. And if you're on the ground, you can bring your fingertips to the ground if you can reach. If not, maybe having a block beside you. Either way. If you're on a chair, you're just going to bring your hand either to the seat of the chair, you can hold on to the leg of the chair. We'll reach the opposite arm up, and we're going to look for just a little bit more space on the arm, on the side of the arm lifted. So you're going to just come over to the side a little, not a big full side bend. Reach up with that arm. If it's uncomfortable, you can bring the hand to the shoulder or hip. Breathe into that long side now. So breathing into the armpit, the side of the rib cage, the waist. You may even feel some expansion around the hip as you breathe. Imagine you have only one lung. You can only breathe into that one side. Okay, let's come back to the center. Pause here before we do the other side. See if you can feel any difference in feeling of expansion around the breath on that side of the body. It can be very subtle, so if you don't feel anything, don't worry that you've done something wrong, and it may just be more subtle. So let's try the other side. So fingertips down or hand on the chair, you're reaching up with that arm. And then without collapsing to the side, you want to think about this shorter side growing long as well, but just a little longer on the long side. So it's no strain at all. You're supporting yourself, but you're not crunching up your shoulders. So bend the arm if you need to. Breathe into that long side, the armpit, the side of the ribs, the waist, maybe even into the hips. See what you can feel as you breathe into the side. Again, you're not trying to force the breath as deeply as possible or trying to even breathe more fully. Just noticing in this position, imagine the breath moving only into that one side. Okay, and then you'll come back up to the center. Again, pause for a moment and notice how the two sides of your body feel. And then we'll come back when you're ready to the cat-cow. So inhaling, a little arch, exhaling, and rounding. So we're really trying to open up the sides and the front and back of the body nice and evenly. So moving from side bend to forward bend to back bend. If you can imagine, trying to stake out a tent and you've got four corners, you want all four corners to be evenly, I was going to say stressed. We won't be stressed, but you know what I mean, evenly tensioned. Great. And let's come back to a neutral spine. We'll do a few rotations for the wrists here. One way and the other. You can do with open hands or fists. Great. And then a little shake. And one more here, bringing the palms together. Put a little bit of pressure against your hands so you feel the muscles across your chest and arms engage. You might feel a bit of a stretch in your forearms. If you want to feel more stretched, push the hands down a little more toward the ground. And then release that pressure a little as we inhale and lift the arms up. And then we'll make a big circle, exhaling. If you can reach behind you, if you're on a chair, you might just grab the sides of your chair. If you're sitting on the floor, you might bring the hands together behind you and lift the chest for a couple of breaths. And then reaching the arms out to the sides, palms forward, reach and spread the fingers. You can even wiggle them a little bit, wake them up. Big breath in, even reach back a bit. And then exhale, crossing one arm over the other, hands to the shoulders, let the elbows drop, shoulders drop. Bring your head down and you can very slightly round your upper back. Try not to slump into your lower back. Feel just a little bit of opening in your upper back and maybe tiny micro movements one way and the other with the elbows. An inch to the left, an inch to the right. Inviting some movement into that upper back area. Okay, come back to the center. We'll release the arms, reach all the way up overhead. Breathing in, exhale, hands to the heart. Put a little bit of pressure into the palms again. Feeling your chest, arms, and wrists engaging. And then again, we'll lift, breathing in, separating and exhaling as you bring the arms down, either taking your chair or bringing your hands together, or you can keep the arms separate if that is better for you. Reaching back, taking a few breaths here. And then arms to the sides, palms forward. If you remember which arm was on top last time, do the other arm this time. You can reach back a little first, and then exhale, wrapping your arms around, elbows down, shoulders down, and then you can bring the chin down and very, very slightly put a little bit of rounding into the upper back, just tiny bit. You're not slumping the whole back, just as the chin comes down, feeling that little bit of space, and then little micro movements, one way, the other way, an inch or two. Getting some movement into the upper back. Great. And then we'll open wide, reaching the arms up overhead, bringing the hands together and back to the heart. Now we'll place the palms down, index fingers together, bring the backs of the hands together and turn the fingertips toward the floor and then towards you. And then palms up in front, roll over, palms down, backs of the hands, rolling in and out. So roll over, down, around. A couple more like that. And then go the other way a couple of times. So we start palms up, backs of the hands come in, down, and around. And if something different happens with your wrist, that's fine. Really, the main thing is here is moving the wrist, not a particular pattern, really. And shake. Wonderful. So we're going to make our way to a standing forward bend now, and there's lots of different ways you can get there. So find your favorite way. Maybe you come to hands and knees first and then lift up, or lift from a squat. However you get there, making your way to a standing forward bend. You might bring your elbows onto your thighs, or you can let the body hang from here. Do keep your knees soft. And then if you have any doubt or issues about your lower back, if you've got some twingy stuff going on in your lower back, I would say come up with a nice long spine, right? So coming all the way up the way we often do. If your back is healthy, feels good, and it would feel good to roll up, you can let the arms hang, let your head hang, and slowly uncurl to come to an upright position, letting your head come up last. Getting upright, finding your way to mountain pose. So in mountain pose, your feet are under your hips, shoulders over the hips. You want to think about the arms really reaching down without effort. So shoulders away from the ears and the crown of the head reaching up towards the ceiling. Just take a moment to notice your breath as you come upright. Feel the breath in the front, the sides, the back of your body if you're able, or wherever it is that you do feel it. And then we'll take the feet a little wider. So continuing to work with the upper body, the chest, the upper back, shoulders. We'll rotate the shoulders, one and then the other. So one shoulder comes forward, lifts and goes back, and then the other. And you can allow your head to move a little. Just want to make sure you're not flinging your head around. The hips can move. If you feel any tension in your lower body, in the hips, the knees, or the ankles, you may want to keep the ankles kind of releasing as you twist so that there's nothing being torqued or twisted here in a way that's uncomfortable, especially the knees and ankles. Just really tune in. You can also rotate the other direction. Squeaky piece of the floor here. I don't know if that's being picked up by the microphone. Wonderful. Eventually finding your way back to Tadasana. And we're going to move into a version of warrior pose. So from Tadasana, I'll move to the side. You're going to take a step forward and take the other foot and turn it out to the side. So we want to be facing the front foot. You can bend the front knee a little bit. And what you might notice as you bend the front knee, the back naturally tends to arch a little bit. Okay? So if you want less arch, if you feel any discomfort in your lower back, move your feet closer together and then your knee won't be bending quite as much. So we never want to let the knee bend past the ankle, right? And even as I do that, I can feel tension on my knee. So we just come straight up over the ankle and then straight. So the further you are, the more the knee is going to bend to make that alignment happen. So from here, we're going to bend the front knee, lift the arms out to the sides, and draw back. Little softness in the elbows. So my elbows aren't straight, they're a little bent. I'm going to reach back, breathing in, lift the heart, and then I'm going to straighten the front leg, bend the back leg a little bit, and reach forward. So inhale, back leg straightens, front knee bends, arms reach out, and then maybe there's a little bend in the back knee. Try to keep your heel down so you feel some stretch in the ankle. And then forward with the body, back with the arms, back with the body, forward with the arms. Okay, next time you come into the position with the knee bent and the arms out to the sides, pause there. And then we'll bring the hands to the front knee, keeping your spine nice and long here. So we're not rounding the back, but lifting the heart. And then if you want to work a little more here with the strength of your back, you can keep the body in this position, lift the heart and take the arms to the sides. If that feels like too much, hands on the knee, keep it supported. Okay, let's lift all the way up now, back to warrior one, and then release. You can step back, bringing the feet together. Take a moment, always interesting to notice when we've done a pose that's asymmetrical, how different the body might feel from one side to the other. So just tune into that awareness. And then when you're ready, you'll take a step forward with the other foot, turning the back foot out and finding just that just right distance between your 2 feet. You can bend the front knee and just tune in. Is that aligned over the ankle? It's not always easy to tell, right? Unless you've got a mirror or something, but you can kind of have a little look and see what that feels like. And then from here, we'll take the arms to the sides, bent arms, lifting the heart, breathing in. And then you can bend the back knee a little as you straighten the front leg. Exhale, reach forward. Inhale, opening. Exhale, forward. There's tension in the back leg when you bend it. Make your stance shorter. Bring your back foot a little forward. Let's come to the open position for a few breaths. Okay, and then hands down onto your front knee. Again, long spine, so you're trying to lift the heart a little bit here, and you can either stay supported or work a little bit more the strength of the back. So I'm trying to lift my heart here. I feel my back muscles working. If it feels like a strain to you, forget it. Bring your hands back to your knee. There's no value in creating tension. Okay, let's lift up, warrior one. And exhale to release. And step the feet back together. And we'll lift the arms, both arms, up overhead. You can bend the elbows if you like. Exhale. You can either place the hands on the thighs or reach down towards the ankles or the ground. Coming forward, and we'll repeat that. So a dynamic or moving forward bend, lifting with the breath in, soften your knees. It really helps to keep your back nice and long when you come forward. And then try to find lots of length, lifting up with a nice long back as you come upright. This time, feel free to stay in the forward bend unless it feels better for you to keep moving, and then go ahead and do a few more dynamically. Again, forward bend, you can either have your elbows or hands resting on your thighs or let the arms hang and cross the arms. Whatever you're doing, try to let your head release. And then gradually coming up with the breath in and releasing. Again, pause for a moment, tune into your breath, notice how your body feels. We've done a lot with the shoulders, and we'll do a little bit more here with the shoulders, so just making sure that they're still on board and happy with you. You can always modify. And then we're going to take the feet a little bit wider. So again, the distance, the width distance is going to be very personal, what feels right for you. Also, of course, depends on the length of your legs. So finding a comfortable distance, and then we're going to take one foot. If we all take the left foot out to the side, then my instructions will make sense. And then bend the left knee so that you're, actually I'll mirror something. This will be your left side, right? So bending the knee so that it's over the ankle again. And that back foot, your right foot, can either be slightly turned out, be straight, or slightly turned in. So find the position that's best for you. If you want to work harder, you make your stance wider. That's going to sink you down more, and it's going to make this leg work a little harder. So it's up to you. You want to make sure that this ankle is firm, so you're pressing into the foot. You're not collapsing that back ankle. And then arms to the sides. Take a breath in. As you exhale, reach your rib cage over towards the bent knee. Without pushing your hip out to the side, you can bring your hand down, or if it's comfortable, bring your forearm down onto that thigh. Reach the other arm straight up. Right, and then we're going to bring the arm down by the hip. And as it comes by the hip, you're going to roll your shoulders to face the ground. Sweep your fingertips over the ground. Reach up overhead and continue that circle so you come back into side angle pose. And then repeat. So arm comes down, you turn towards the ground, reach up and back into the side angle. Again, now as you come overhead, if you're having any issues with your shoulder, just bend the elbow and bring it around in front of you rather than overhead, or modify in whatever way you need to. Right, next time you come up, reach up, and then we're going to bring the hand down, but turn the palm back, bend the elbow and bring the hand behind the lower back, and then draw that shoulder back, press into your back leg, your right leg, reach out through the crown of your head. This might be a good position for you. If you want more, you can take your arm extended overhead and try to find a straight line from your back foot to your fingertips, or something like a straight line, and breathe. We'll lift back up to center. Warrior two, so that knee is bent. Straighten the leg now. Turn your feet parallel, palms up. Lift the arms, big breath in. Exhale, bend your knees slightly and sweep forward. Take a breath here. Soft knees again as you come all the way up. And you'll release the arms to the sides, palms down. And now we'll take the right foot, turn it out to the right, and bend your knee. So again, just check that your knee is straight over your ankle, side to side, and forward and back. Okay? And then from here, on an exhale, reach your rib cage over toward that bent leg without pushing your back hip out. Bring the hand or the forearm down onto your thigh. Other arm reaching straight up. And again, we'll circle. So the hand will come down by the hip. You'll turn your shoulders toward the ground. Sweep the fingertips down and overhead. So we'll do a few circles like that, opening up the space all around the shoulder, the upper back, the rib cage, even the sides of the waist and the hip, also getting some expansion here. So as you come back up, reaching that arm up, and we'll start to take the arm down, turning the palm back, bringing the hand behind the back, and then drawing that shoulder back. Breathing into that long upper side. Try not to collapse into the shoulder or arm that's on your legs. So imagine you could even move that arm and your body would stay there, so you're not counting on that for support. Just using it a little. And then the other option, of course, arm overhead and extending that line from your back foot to your fingertips. Shoulders still moving back. When you're ready, you'll lift up, warrior two, straightening the front leg, feet parallel, palms up, lifting with the breath in, soften your knees, sweep forward as you exhale. And let's repeat that. So we'll come all the way up, breathing in, keep the knees soft and release all the way down as you exhale. Next time you are coming forward, feel free to stay. You can take the hands or the forearms onto your thighs or let your body dangle. If it feels better to keep moving, by all means, keep moving. When you're ready to come up, lift with the breath in, reaching up overhead, and then exhale to release. You can step or shuffle or walk your feet in. Having your feet roughly hip distance apart, or actually shoulder distance, probably better for this one, hands to the hips. And we'll do a few circles to release the hips. You can circle in one direction and then go the other way. Keep your knees soft. Right. And then let's bring the feet in a little closer. Release the hands down. And again, take a moment to notice the breath, feel your body. Notice the effects of the movement that we've done, especially around the shoulders, chest, and upper back, and always honoring what you notice, never forcing or pushing your body. So we're going to start to make our way back down to the mat, so you can get there however is easiest for you. We're going to lie down on our backs. So as you come down, knees are bent, feet on the floor. Just take a moment to feel settled there. Tune back into your breath. The hands could rest on your body if you like, or on the ground. And then you're going to reach the arms up toward the ceiling. Lift up so the shoulder blades released from the ground. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, let the shoulder blades slowly sink back down. Take your hands and bring them to opposite elbows. So you've got a little shape of a square over your chest. And we'll work with a gentle twist for the upper body. So taking the head, rolling it to one side, and the arms go the same direction. And then bringing back to the center, arms and head, and then roll the other way. You can go side to side like that a few times. And just concentrate the twist in the upper back. If that feels like enough for you, then stay with just this movement. And if you want a little bit more and it feels okay, you can slowly let the knees go one direction and just go a little bit at first and then back to center. The knees are going the opposite direction of your arms and head. And then everything comes back to center. Exhaling as you twist and inhaling as you come to center. And moving the legs is optional. Actually, all of the movements are always optional. But if you feel like you've had enough twisting through the upper back and you only want to work with the lower, you can release the arms and continue with just the legs. So find the version of the twist that's working best for you. Switch it up if you like. Both upper and lower, just the upper, just the lower for a few more rounds. I've got this beautiful sunbeam coming in on me now, so I'm just really enjoying the November sun. So eventually you're going to make your way back to the center. And then once there, we'll bring the knees to the chest. And you can start with the forward and back movement that we did earlier. Breathing in as the knees move away. And you can, again, think about the breath initiating the movement if you find that that's helpful for both focus and the movement. Or you can just do the movement normally, breathing in as you move the knees away, breathing out as you move the knees in. The alternative is to think about starting with the breath and letting the breath initiate the movement. And then the hands follow, the legs follow. And then vary the movement. So you might circle or do figure eights with the knees, either together or even separately. You might rock side to side or continue with that forward and back movement. So just making sure that you release and give a little massage to the lower back after lots of back bending and side bending today, and opening up the area around the breath. And then eventually when you feel complete, when you feel nicely released and you feel aligned and symmetrical again, after hugging the knees in for a few breaths, you can release the feet to the floor, and then we're moving to Shavasana to end the class today. So if you need to prop yourself in any special way, or if you want to cover yourself up or put on some extra clothing, please take your time to do that. And if you prefer to sit for the last part of the class, you are always welcome to do that, but not usually the option that most people will choose. However, it's a nice option if you feel a little sleepy and you know you've got to get up and go afterwards to come to sit. So find where you want to be, find your comfortable place for Shavasana, and then allow your body to start to settle there, wherever that is. Once you find that comfortable, relaxed position, come back to your breath. Again, there's no need to change your breath at all. Observe the flow of breath as it enters and leaves your body. Watch with curiosity where the breath moves. Where do you feel it? Where are you aware of your breath in your body? Start to relax the muscles of your face and jaw. And let the weight of your head be well supported so there's no effort for your neck. And then let your attention come down to your shoulders. So we worked quite a bit with the shoulders today. So now see if you can let go of any tension, any holding, any effort in your shoulders. You may feel a little bit of movement with your breath in your shoulders. You may not. At any rate, with each exhalation, you want to find a little bit more release, a little more letting go, dropping down through the shoulders and then the arms, upper arms, lower arms, and your hands letting go. And let your attention shift to the area around your ribcage. Feel any movement that's available there as you breathe without trying to force movement. Simply notice that subtle rise and fall if you're able to feel it. Otherwise, simply observing the breath as it is as you soften the muscles around your ribcage, front, back, and sides of your body. Relaxing down through the belly, feel your abdominal muscles let go. That habitual holding, could you find a little more release? Allowing the lower back to let go and soften. Releasing and relaxing all around the hips and pelvis. Notice any movement of the breath in the lower part of your torso. Again, it may be so subtle that you don't feel it. You may feel just a little movement or a lot of movements. Notice what's present for you. Drop down even more through the pelvis and hips. Softening the thighs and knees. Releasing any holding in the calves and shins, the ankles, and even the feet. Being in touch with our hearts, with our breath, we come to our center, to a place where we feel more centered, more in touch with our whole selves. And we start to feel our connection, energetic and physical, to all beings, to all matter. We are the earth, the water, the air that flows through us, the light that animates us. When we really tune into and feel that connection with ourselves, with each other, with nature, we realize that we're not separate from creation or God. And the chant that I'll share with you, it's part of a much longer chant. It's the refrain that reminds us that through our connection to our hearts, we find our center, we find connection with life and with spirit. Hridayam Mai Aham Amrite Amritam Brahmani Hridayam Mai Aham Amrite Amritam Brahmani Hridayam Mai Aham Amrite Amritam Brahmani If your focus has shifted elsewhere, come back for a few more breaths to focus on the breath and that gentle, subtle movement of the body with the breath. And only if it feels good and without strain, you can start to deepen your breath a little bit. Invite a little more breath in, a little more fullness to the inhale, a little more release to the exhale. And with that deepening breath, gradually add some movement. Maybe wiggle your fingers and toes, circle your ankles and wrists, stretch out your arms and legs, just whatever would feel really good to you right now. Of course, if you want to stay in Shavasana, you're welcome to stay a little longer. The beauty of doing a class at home is you can really make it your own. And certainly if you are doing the class later as a replay, pausing to hold a pose longer is totally a wonderful way of using the classes. And when you feel ready, you can roll onto your side if you haven't already, and take your time to slowly make your way to seated again. When you do come upright, bring your hands together right in front of your heart. Take a few gentle breaths, connecting with the energy of the heart. That center connects us to spirit, to each other. And know that when you go through your week this week, if you feel yourself getting stressed, getting anxious, your breath can be a beautiful anchor to come back into the moment. Just spending a couple moments focusing on your absolutely natural breath without changing it creates a kind of reset if you can really bring the mind there. So as you go through your week, carry that idea with you, that knowledge, that tool, and use it as necessary to bring you back to your center. Namaste. You've got this lovely halo from the sun streaming in the window now. Quite lovely. Have a great day.